chunk noise when the bird got sucked into the right engine.
A moment of anxiety for passengers on a flight headed for Flint when a bird wound up in the path of an Allegiant Airlines plane. As a result, the plane had to head back to Clearwater, Florida, just to be safe.
TV5's Trey Harris caught up with some of the passengers as they arrived this evening in Flint.
Usually when you land at baggage claim, your biggest worry is whether you got your suitcase or not. But for these passengers, well, their flight came with a little extra excitement when an Allegiant flight to Flint had to make an unexpected landing due to a surprise run-in with a bird, making for one heck of a travel story.
Hi, family. I made it.
Earlier today, as the Allegiant plane made its way towards the clouds, a bird collided with an engine.
We weren't even in the air 6 minutes, and the pilot came over the air and said, we have to turn around.
Passengers getting off that flight and heading back to their lives with a mix of relief and a few laughs.
I'm glad we arrived safely.
And I was like so nervous and had anxiety real bad before I got on the plane. And then when I was on the plane, I saw these birds flying.
Making an unplanned landing to ensure everyone's safety and security, officials confirmed there were no injuries, and the calm professionalism showcased by flight staff turned what could have been a nerve-wracking ordeal into a bizarre travel story.
Not long after we took off, I heard the engine, the one engine, I guess, apparently sound a little bit different. I'm like, oh, that kind of sounds funny.
We heard kind of a chunk noise when the bird got sucked into the right engine.
We were looking at each other and, they just kind of like smiled and didn't really say a lot, but, and then they announced that it was the bird that flew into the engine.
And with passengers now safely back on the ground, a flight that was originally scheduled to hit the skies around noon finally has its long day of travel over.
They got us up and everybody's clapping and, and then they landed us in St. Pete and everybody's clapping, and they landed us here and everybody's clapping.
In Flint, Trey Harris, TV5.
According to the FAA, there have been about 292,000 reported wildlife strikes with civil aircrafts over the last 3+ decades. In 2023 alone, there were about 19,700.